Welcome to RED35, and here today we are looking at the latest gimbal by Steadicam called the Volt for the iPhone. Over the last few years, I have seen, all kinds of companies making accessories for the smartphone market. And now because the latest smartphone generations are producing really stunning image and video qualities, so, it's not surprising now there are many serious enthusiasts or even professionals using smartphone for taking photos and videos. And because of that, you can see a lot of really premium accessories now, like the lenses for the iPhone. I'm going to put some links down below if you haven't checked out our reviews for some of the best lenses out there at the moment, and some gimbals for people taking really buttery smooth footages. And one of the latest companies to join the party is Steadicam. You might have heard of them because they are kind of like the gold standard for stabilization. Way back in the 60s and 70s, they started the whole kind of gimbal business for professional cameras. And now they're shrinking everything down to this kind of a portable size for a portable device. So Steadicam has called their latest gimbal Volt. I don't know why, but then they have so many different names they could choose, but they choose the name Volt for this latest gimbal. And they launched this particular thing, through the Kickstarter crowdfunding campaign. And I think it was actually quite interesting because I was one of the first backers actually on Kickstarter, because, Steadicam is such a big name. And I knew that if they release a gimbal for smartphone, it has to be good, because they are the gold standard back in the days, and even now, a lot of the sports stadiums, filmmakers are still using Steadicam equipment to stabilize their shots. So this is how good they are. They are made for professionals. So I thought if they make something like this, it should be quite interesting for general consumers alike, and even enthusiast videographers or filmmakers. So we're gonna have a check out the details now. What is the build quality like for the Steadicam Volt? One word: cheap. I have to say that because the entire thing is kind of made from plastic. The only metal components you can kind of see from the outside is, first is the counterweight, and that this little flimsy metal bracket thing, and then also that metal column in the middle. Then the entire thing is plastic fantastic, I guess. And also the whole entire construction, when you fold it up, setting it up, even the buttons, and even, yes, this most important bit is the battery compartment, which I'm going to tell you a little bit now because I found it really annoying today during filming. Tracy would know, because the power doesn't seem to come on. I thought we lost power, but in fact it's actually a battery compartment. It's a bit loose. That could be down to the build quality, but and I can quickly show you, that's the problem we have here. This flimsy piece of battery cover, compartment cover, it will be quite easy and standard to put a foam piece here to kind of press the battery down. That's what I had to do, constantly pushing it back to make the connection work better. But a lot of the cases, it just suddenly it will lose power all of a sudden, so I have to press it again to make it work. But that, again, like I said, it's either the design or the build quality. But I'm not quite impressed. And even though, I mean, I got it at a really good deal at the Kickstarter campaign because I was one of the super early bird backers, so I got really cheap. But now when I come to think of it, you know, like, is it really, you know, like, because it's really cheap, I got a really cheap product, you know, like, but at retail, at least in the States, it's quite expensive. You know, they are selling for nearly $200 just for this at retail. And currently, you can actually get some of the Chinese fully electronically stabilized system for the smartphone for around about the same price, if not cheaper. And they are as good, if not better, than, you know, some of the market leader like DJI. You know, like, you have to bear that in mind. So Steadicam is coming, I wouldn't say a little bit late in the game, but certainly in terms of pricing, in terms of the product build quality, it doesn't quite balance. You know, the retail price certainly is a little bit on the high side. It's not kind of low enough to compensate the construction details. And so I think, you know, it's not kind of solid. You know, I'm actually worried if I do drop this thing, it may not actually work again. That's how worried I am. And how about handling? Well, it's a little bit tricky to say because, you know, in the instruction manual, it did say that you need some training on using this. Well, you know, I have used it a few times, and I have to say that, you know, when it works well. But there are a lot of cases that it just doesn't. First, I have to say, you know, like, yeah, it holds well. I think the ergonomic is not too bad. I like the grip itself because it's contoured to your fingers, and so you can get a really good grip on it. Unlike some of the other products out there, it's just like basically just like a stick somewhere. But this is okay in terms of holding it. But when you actually use it, that's when the problem starts. Okay, first is the setup. You know, it's a little bit fiddly, a little bit complicated to do it because it's still using the counterweights a lot, you know, like still, because they think, you know, that you cannot defy physics. You know, if you use a lot of electronic stabilization, it just doesn't feel natural when it comes to do filming. But so they're trying to use dead weight, so you have to balance your phone and everything before you even start to use it, you know, and that process takes a long time to master. But once you set it up, you know, like what I do at the moment, I use tapes to tape all the positions so I know exactly where to put my phone next time, so I don't have to reset up or recalibrate again. But even everything is startup, I found that so many times the phone itself will tilt to one side or another. It doesn't seem to get a level shot.
I really hate it doesn't go central, like really straight, because I like things straight. When it's tilted, it gets really annoying.
And then also is that because there is no panning assist, you know, there's no kind of assistance to help you kind of stabilize that. But I guess this is what Steadicam wants. You know, they want to fast panning action. So this is not stabilized or not assisted, so to speak. So what happened when you put a phone in? Today we're in a quite windy situations. The phone, the bigger the phone, the worse it gets. So if you put a big phone in here, it acts like a sail. So in a windy situation, the thing will start to move around because that's where the wind blows. So that really not good, because if you're trying to use your finger to start pressing it, to trying to hold it in position, then you lose the stabilization because it just loses it basically. So that's not really good. So many times I thought, you know, the fully electronic system is actually a lot better in that sense. So you can actually control it even in windy situations, and always get a perfect horizontal line because it's electronic. So it's just using the gyros sensor to compensate everything. This one doesn't seem to work too well, to be honest. It might work better in the smaller phones, but I mean, I got a bigger iPhone, so when I put it in there, it's maybe a little bit on the heavy side, but it shouldn't matter because it's designed for it. So maybe they have to look at some sort of update in the future, but at current form, I think it's still a little bit flawed in that instance, and certainly doesn't come into, you know, operational handling as such. I mean, I wish it could be better. So here's the thing. What do I think of the Steadicam Volt? And well, let's say that I was originally very excited about it. And as you can tell, I told you already, I was one of the first backer to back this Kickstarter campaign when it was first announced. And I was jumping up and down, you know, I thought, you know, this could be, you know, the game changer in the smartphone stabilization by the renowned Steadicam company. And I was so excited, I was so impatient, I was kept knocking the door, you know, when I'm gonna get it. And after so many months, and I finally got my hands on one, and when I used it, I was a little bit disappointed, to be honest, and then it didn't really perform to the level that I really actually wanted to see. Maybe it's lack of training from my part, because that's the menu say, you know, I need training, whether it's professionally or I have to keep practicing and master it. But certainly not the easiest product to use, you know, when you compare to like some of the other products out there at the moment. I was disappointed in terms of build quality as well, which I mentioned earlier. It's a little bit flimsy in certain parts. The battery compartments is horrible. And also, you know, the customer service, I have to say something about that, because I still haven't received my premium case, which I actually ordered during the campaign. I email and email and email, nobody has come back to me, whether via Tiffin, which is the owner of Steadicam company, or anybody else. I mean, I've just emailed them, just no one seems to bother replying my messages. So, you know, if you manage to get one yourself, if you have any problem, good luck with the customer service. You probably will not even hear anything from them. So I'm a little bit disappointed in the overall kind of experience of using it. Or if I have any problem, I want to get support, there's no one's there. And yeah, it just not quite nice, you know. Now, with a flood of new, cheaper and better Chinese products coming into the market for similar stabilization system for the iPhone, or even like bigger cameras from China, and then you know, I think, you know, those might be actually better bet for you guys. And especially if you're not using professionally, you want something that works and on the economical scale, you know, like kind of cheaper, so to speak. This is not the cheapest, which is another thing, you know, like there are other products out there which are cheaper and better. So this is what I need to say about Steadicam, and as much as I want to love this product because of the name, and I just couldn't, because it's not as good as I actually thought it could be. So, you know, unfortunately, you know, I want to smile at it, but I couldn't. Well, if you like what you just saw, remember to do this and click subscribe for future update. We've got a lot of interesting stuff coming. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. We'll put all the links down below in the description. So until next time, see you then, bye.